And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we have got a magnificent show for you today. You know what? I tell you that every day, but that's because it's true. Every day we do have a magnificent show for you. And today, just like every other day, we're going to talk about, hey, what's in the news? New legislation, the IRS loses. And then we'll do our news segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Well, you know, the story today is going to be all about James, and it's going to be a real surprise to you, so you don't want to miss that. And then, of course, we'll have with us today our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be talking about healthcare. And you know what? We actually have a recording. We were watching Joe Scarborough this morning. He was interviewing a doctor this morning, and they were talking about the contracts with Medicare and Medicaid. And it's something that you're going to want to hear. It's a short recording we've done, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to play that, and then Sean and I will be discussing it for you a little bit later on. Now, the first thing I want you to do, though, is I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. I mean, that's unbelievable. It's really cooled down. It's on its way to 55 degrees. And it's going to be wonderful. Now, later on, we'll be talking to you about the temperature around the world for our syndicated audience, so that you'll know that we're paying attention and trying to know what's going on. But right now, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the news. We've encapsulated it or abbreviated it so that we can give you the top 10 things for you to talk to your friends, your neighbors, the people you work for, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the world today. Here's the 10 things that you need to know for today. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow as well. And first up, tensions flare as Republicans clash over Trump. Republican leaders hope to prevent an all-out civil war, at least until after the election, but those efforts appear to be failing. And Trump's 2005 comments discussed women, but change few opinions. Female voters in swing states are repulsed by Republicans' assertion that an old tape featuring him talking about groping women amounted to locker room talk and not sexual assault. And you know what? Hurricanes cost. Chaos lingers in the North Carolina. Firefighters turned their military surplus truck into a dark floodwaters of Lumberton, inundated by a swollen river. And people will die soon if we don't get some aid. In western Haiti, 300 patients lay silently in bed in a hospital in Dame Marie, waiting for medicine a week after Hurricane Matthew hit the remote peninsula. Keep in mind, though, that there are 900 people that have lost their lives there, over 900. So, you know what? We need to make sure that they get the help they need. This is a humanitarian thing. And I've never been to a poorer country in my life than Haiti. Well, Samsung stops making Galaxy Note 7s. I can't wait till tomorrow to talk to our own Dr. Wireless about it. Joel will know more about it than we do. The consumer electronics giant says that it is ending production of the star-crossed smartphones permanently because of safety concerns. I guess so. They're catching fire, right? How'd you like to be driving down the highway with this thing in your pocket and then it catch fire? Holy mackerel. Well, how Zika may be worse than initially thought. Doctors are seeing that many of the babies born with microcephaly have difficulty swallowing, are prone to epileptic seizures, and have vision and hearing trouble. That's what the Associated Press finds. We'll talk about that probably today with our own Sean LaFave a little bit later. And no strike for Chicago public school teachers. The decision affecting 400,000 students in the nation's third largest school district averts the second major strike for city teachers since 2012. And Ashura marked amid threats in violence. Afghanistan's Shiite population is preparing to mark the martyrdom of the Prophet Muhammad's grandson, despite warnings from authorities of possible attacks. And Nancy O'Dell, locker room, no excuse for Trump. The Entertainment Tonight host says women shouldn't be objectified, even in so-called men's safe havens. You know what? I was talking to my wife about this. I used to tell her when I was a young man, I used to dream about being a fly on the wall in the ladies' or the women's locker room. And she said, you know what? What goes on in the women's locker room would make Howard Stern blush. So you know what? We need to put this thing in perspective. How about, and by the way, it happened 11 years ago. You know what? Here's the last thing on here. A tribe advance. Big Pappy waves goodbye. Cleveland beats Boston 4-3 to complete a 3-game sweep in advance to its first American League Championship Series since 2007, sending Red Sox slugger David Ortiz into retirement. Yep. Now you know. Well, you know what? Now let's see if we can't get to some more in-depth stuff for you and see if we can handle it. Unshackled, Trump unleashes aggressive attacks on his own party. The shackles are gone. Donald Trump stepped up his fierce attacks on his own party leaders today, promising to teach Republicans who oppose him a lesson and fight for the presidency the way I want to. That's a quote from him. Exactly 4 weeks before Election Day, and with his campaign floundering, the businessman reverted to the combative, divisive strategy that propelled him to victory in the GOP primary: attack every critic, including fellow Republicans. Those close to Trump suggested it was open season on every detractor, regardless of party. It is so nice that the shackles have been taken off me, and I can now fight for America the way I want to, Trump said in a tweet that brought new concern, near panic, in some cases, to a party trying to stave off an all-out civil war before November the 8th. In another series of tweets, the Republican nominee called House Speaker Paul Ryan weak and ineffective. Senator John McCain, very foul-mouthed and disloyal. Republicans far more difficult than crooked Hillary. They come at you from all sides, Trump declared. They don't know how to win, and I will teach them. Boy, get ready. It's going to be good, folks. It's gonna be good. Absolutely. Well, you know what? Officials and parents worry the Chicago schools deal that is just not going to stick. Teachers in the nation's third largest school district pulled back from a threatened strike after a tentative last-minute contract agreement that Chicago officials acknowledged today may amount to a temporary fix, and parents worried would fall apart. It wasn't easy, as you all know. Chicago Teachers Union President Karen Lewis said after Monday's late-night agreement, which now goes to the union's House of Delegates and the 28,000 members for the final vote. Vice President Jesse Sharkey said Tuesday that he's confident that it'll pass because it has wins for students and for school workers. But even as Mayor Rahm Emanuel, who fought bitterly with Lewis before and during the 2012 teacher strike, praised the union and the Chicago Public Schools in a speech in which he introduced the 2017 budget proposal. It still isn't clear how the financially strapped city will pay for the 4-year deal. Yeah, go figure. They ought to be able to figure out a way. You know what? I can remember thinking to myself, when we used to have babysitters, which is pretty much what how parents are teaching teachers today. We used to pay them 50 cents an hour. We paid them less money than what we would tip people at a nice restaurant for dinner. And yet they were taking care of the most precious, most valuable things, the possessions you had, your children. Well, you know what? Teachers do the same thing. And then not only do they take care of them, they teach them. Gosh, don't you think we should do better? Yeah. Well, you know what? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about leaks that show Clinton's inner circle grappling with the email issue. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. We got a fantastic show for you today.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this. The Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. And just like I promised, we're going to talk about leaks show the Clinton inner circle grappling with the email issue. You know, hacked emails show that Hillary Clinton's campaign was slow to grasp the seriousness of the controversy over her use of a hybrid or a homebrew email system and believed it might blow over after one weekend. 2 days after the Associated Press was first to report in March of 2015 that Clinton had been running a private server in her home in New York to send and receive messages when she was Secretary of State, her advisors were shaping their strategy to respond to the revelation. Among the emails made public today by WikiLeaks was one from Clinton campaign spokesman Nick Merrill, who optimistically suggested that the issue might quickly blow over. Well, the goal would be to cauterize this just enough so that it plays out over the weekend and dies in the short term, Merrill wrote on March the 6th, 2015. Well, it didn't, and became the leading example of Clinton's penchant for secrecy, which has persisted as a theme among her campaign critics and rivals throughout her election in this season. Clinton did not publicly confirm or discuss her use of the email server until March 10th in a speech at the United Nations nearly 1 week after the Associated Press revealed the server's existence. WikiLeaks began releasing on Friday what it said were years of messages from accounts used by Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. He has acknowledged his emails were hacked. Podesta warned that messages may have been altered or edited to inflict political damage, but has not pointed to any specific case of this. Months after Merrill's message, the campaign was still preoccupied with emails. In May of 2015, Clinton spokesman Brian Fallon alerted other staffers that the Justice Department was proposing to publish Clinton's work-related emails by January in response to requests by news organizations. Fallon, a former Justice Department spokesman, wrote that unspecified Department of Justice spokes told him there was a court hearing. And that was going to be planned soon in the case. Now, the name and email address of the person who shared the information with Fallon had been deleted. Donald Trump on Tuesday called Fallon's email unbelievable, and his supporters said that it showed collusion between the Obama administration and the Clinton campaign. The dates of the court hearings would have been publicly posted in advance on the court's docket. Fallon did not respond to a request for comment from the Associated Press. The Justice Department declined to discuss Fallon's email. It wasn't immediately clear who hacked Podesta's emails, though U.S. intelligence officials last week blamed the Russian government for a series of breaches intended to influence the presidential election. Through its Twitter account, the Russian embassy in Washington has denied any role in the cyber attack, suggesting U.S. officials are just whipping up anti-Russia hysteria. The messages stolen from Podesta's account describe how Clinton's closest advisors considered responding to key events during the campaign, including the discovery of her email server and her congressional testimony over the deadly 2012 attacks on a U.S. diplomatic compound in Benghazi, Libya. Wow. You know what? I could talk to you more and more and more about this, but the truth is, I'm surprised that the Department of Justice hasn't talked more and more and more about this. That's really what really needs to happen. Isn't it a shame? Yeah. Well, you know, let's talk some more about Trump. You know, his grab 'em comment unleashes a national conversation on Facebook and Twitter and the phone and on the job, from living rooms to hair salons. Donald Trump's grab 'em by the, well, you know, that expletive down south for women. The comment has unleashed a tsunami of stories from women sharing painful memories of sexual assaults. Many of these women were grabbed by the genitals, exactly as Trump described doing, by men who fled or melted into the crowd. Some women were molested as children on a playground or a school bus. Others were groped on a train or a dance floor. They've told of attacks getting out of taxicabs, harassment in the workplace, and rapes on college campuses. Many shared their experiences for the first time in the days since the video of Trump's comments aired, while others have been exercising their demons for a long time on blogs or in therapy. Whatever the forum, whatever their experience, one thing is for sure: a presidential candidate's boastful description of manhandling women's bodies has become a national conversation about sexual assault. Thousands of women have stood up to say, publicly and firsthand, "This happened to me." Yeah. And you know what? There's no excuse for it. There's no excusing it. Maybe the talk, but certainly not the action. Well, with that, we're going to take another short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to lighten this up. We're going to talk about the IRS loses, and we're going to talk about it paying for disclosures, or mostly paying for them. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 77 on its way to 55 degrees. Man, it's winter. It's unbelievable. It's beautiful out there. You know what? And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, you know what? It's 57 degrees and it's partly cloudy. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, get this. It's 87 degrees, and it's sunny out there. So, what a difference all around the place for us anyway. So, you know what? Let's talk about the IRS loses. Let's get you smiling for once, okay? Especially with the news that's been going on. Here's the one: the IRS loses, well, mostly anyway, pays for disclosures. An IRS agent investigating a business owners told several of their associates and customers that they were being investigated, accused the owners of committing various tax crimes, and told the customers that they might be liable for the owner's unpaid taxes. The owners sued the IRS, and a trial court awarded them, get this, $77,000 in damages. It's $1,000 for each disclosure, plus legal fees of more than $460,000 plus more than $170,000 in punitive damages. Now, the IRS objected to the awards on appeal, but this is what the court said. The IRS clearly violated confidentiality rules. The awards are upheld, except the punitive damages, which are not allowed by law. Now, that's the $170,000 one. The $460,000 and the $77,000, yep, IRS has got to pay that one. And they have to pay it with interest. Yeah. Well, how about this? The IRS loses. Sideline expenses are deductible when they produce income. Makes sense. Julie Toth was an executive and skilled equestrian who began a horse boarding and training activity initially as a sideline, but by the end of the first year, it was for a for-profit business. So the IRS's argument is this: the activity initially did not qualify as a business, so expenses incurred during that period could not be deducted as business expenses, but had to be capitalized as startup costs occurred before the business actually begun. Well, she went to court. This is what the judge said. The activity produced income from the very start, and expenses incurred to generate income are deductible, whether it's a business or not. So the expenses, you got it, they are absolutely deductible. Well, here's the case. The IRS loses. They ignored a court hearing. Yeah. You know what? A company that owed taxes to the IRS declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, to keep its business running, it sought to use cash that it had. The bankruptcy court scheduled a hearing on the issue and sent notices of it to the 4 IRS offices. Now, the IRS didn't respond, and the court approved the use of the funds, again sending notices to the IRS. 6 weeks later, the IRS objected, saying that the hearing notices hadn't been properly sent to the U.S. Attorney's Office. The court said it was too late. Its decision became final after 10 days. The IRS appealed. This is what the Court of Appeals said. The IRS had ample actual notice but failed to act. The 10-day deadline to appeal is upheld, and the decision stands. So sad, too bad, IRS, you've been had. How about this one? The IRS loses, bound by its stipulations. Well, you know what? Doyle Mathia went to tax court to dispute a tax bill on income from his 8.5% interest in the partnership. Now, both sides agreed to stipulate facts before the trial. Among them was that Mathia was not a notice partner who dealt with the IRS, so he was bound by an agreement that the partnership's managers reached earlier with the IRS. Now, later, the IRS tried to change its stipulation, saying that Mathia was a notice partner and therefore wasn't bound by the agreement. Well, he went to court. This is what the judge said. The IRS had no excuse for stipulating wrong facts. Throwing out the stipulation would require a costly trial to find facts to the taxpayer's detriment. The IRS remains bound by what it agreed was true. Makes sense to me, doesn't it to you? Sure it does. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with this segment we call Inside the IRS, very much like the Twilight Zone. Well, you know, these are not tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS, they plan, they talk about, and they do, and they can actually help you when it comes to your own situation if you're just aware of what the IRS has been doing. In this case, you need to be prepared to document your deductions. The IRS is now requiring tax return preparers to adopt a standard of more likely than not before they claim a tax deduction or take a particular tax position on a client's tax returns. Now, meaning that it is, whoops, I thought I got that thing. Come on, let's get it. There we go. Anyway, that's before they actually make a claim on a tax deduction or even take a particular tax position on a client's tax return. Meaning, it is more likely than not that the return would be upheld ultimately by a court. The tax return preparer is now liable for a penalty of up to the greater of $5,000 or 50% of the income that he or she actually earned from preparing that return. Now, that's a big deal. So you can bet no more of these frivolous deductions. If you can't prove what you want to deduct, You're not going to get it, because I don't know of any tax preparer that's going to put their license on the line or their pocketbook, and that's for sure. Well, how about this? Be careful before deducting entrance fees and monthly maintenance fees paid to a continuing care retirement community. We call that a CCRC. Now, CCRCs generally provide qualified long-term care services for which a medical deduction may be available. But here's the problem. In their effort to sell apartment units, sponsors of some CCRCs overestimate the portion of these fees that are tax deductible. That's the portion used to provide medical services. So you've got to be careful. If the IRS audits you, it's going to require that you prove with independent evidence that the amount deducted is correct. And that's not so easy to do. Also, the bigger your living quarters, the higher the entrance fee and monthly maintenance. However, the amount attributable to medical expenses is not a function of the size of the apartment. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, do not go away, because it's about to get exciting around here. Waiting in the wings is our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to bring him on right after these brief messages, so do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 77 degrees on its way to 55 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Paris, France, well, it's 45 degrees and it's cleared. If you're in Rome, Italy, it's 51 degrees. And you know what? It's clear too. It's just nighttime. You can't even tell. In any event, I can tell you something that I've been waiting for all week, and that is our own Sean LaFave and his Geared for Wellness Corner. Hey, Sean, you sitting out there somewhere?
I am sitting out here somewhere. Yeah, I'm back in Orange County. Well, back in Newport.
So you're enjoying some sun on the beach.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's
sunny and it's warm, and it's just a normal day here, and I like normal days here.
Well, that's good. That's good. So listen, you know what? I had a thing that I had recorded, or I thought I had recorded, and I wanted to play it for you. And for some reason, it's not letting me bring this doggone thing up, and I really don't know why it's not. It goes there, and it says it's going to do it, and then when I want to do it, let me just see what happens here if I do this. I'm going to try and take this up. Oh, there we go. Nope, it still doesn't do it. I don't know why the heck it's not going to let me do it for some reason. Anyway, I was doing this recorded Morning Joe this morning, and he was interviewing a Dr. Jeffrey Sachs, and they were talking about one of the most costly things that took place and was protected under Obamacare. And you and I've talked about this many, many times before, and I wish I had this thing that I could play it. For some reason, it won't let me. It's probably copyrighted or something, and it won't let me do it. But in any event, what it was in this interview, this Dr. Jeffrey Sachs was saying that there was this company that created this pill, and we're aware of it, that would cure hepatitis C, which is a killer, right? And but someone, not the person who created the pill, but someone else bought the patent on that pill. Now, the pill costs $1 to manufacture. Now, the person who bought the patent raised the price of this to $1,000. Now, as we said before,
per pill, correct?
Per pill. Now, the entire modality, the entire treatment for curing this hepatitis C is about 85 pills, or about $85 or $100, somewhere in that vicinity of cost. Except that what they're doing, the way they're doing it now, it's going to cost $85,000, $95 if you want to use. There's some extra medicine you can get, but $85,000 to cure this, and it's killing people. Now, if you're on Medicare or Medicaid, you can't get this treatment, or I'm sorry, you can get this treatment, and it's paid for. But if you're a veteran, you cannot get it. Now, let me tell you what's going on. In the veterans, you can't get it because they can't afford it. They can't negotiate the price down. They don't have the negotiating power for the Veterans Administration. But for Medicare and Medicaid, they've got the power. They're the largest buying power in the world, but they can't do it because the medical industry, the medical manufacturers, the medication manufacturers have lobbied and paid for these campaigns for the senators and the congressmen, and they put into Obamacare that Medicare and Medicaid is not allowed by law to negotiate with these medical manufacturers. Can you believe that crap?
Actually, I can, unfortunately, but that doesn't surprise. It's just unbelievable. It's not only unethical, it really should be illegal. But it's just, there's no way that Obamacare is ever going to work because of stuff like this. Is just one example. It's just stuff like this that makes it impossible. You can't have a free healthcare system or a cheap national healthcare system that's run by a bunch of criminals, because they're going to do exactly what you just got done talking about. Yeah, and that's why these guys buy these drugs and jack the prices up, because then they go, okay, you know what? We can just make millions, billions, not millions, billions.
Oh, you know what?
Off of insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid. Yeah,
they came out just on this one company, made $16 billion last year, and paid not one penny of tax. You know why? Because the contract for the medication comes out of Ireland, and the money is banked in Ireland. There's no tax.
Man,
they don't even. Yeah. Now you're getting the gist of it.
And everyone's all up in arms about Donald Trump's IRS files. Like they want to see his tax return. Like this thing here alone is just one example of just absolute crookedness.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's stuff like that. And I see it. I know it's there, and I knew about the hepatitis C. I knew about raising the price of the drug, but I didn't know I didn't know that Medicare was not allowed to negotiate down the price.
Medicare and Medicaid cannot negotiate the prices down. They got to pay.
That part I didn't know. I assumed that they could, because they always were able to, but I didn't know that was written in there, and I certainly didn't know about running, the process through Ireland to not pay tax.
Yeah, one more thing that Obamacare has not fixed. We were undermined here.
Yeah.
This is just atrocious. So anyway, when I was watching,
it's unbelievable. I mean, it's why we have so many sick people in this country. As a nation, we are getting sicker and sicker. We're getting fatter. We're getting weaker. We're getting, we got a list of health conditions that people are just told that they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives, and it's simply because of this. You get a person on diabetes medications for life, thyroid medications for life. I just had a consult with a woman who has thyroid, Hashimoto's. She even has the autoimmune, and she said, "You can fix this." I said, "Yeah, you can fix this. We got to go through a process. It's not going to be quick, but we can fix it." She goes, "I was told that you can't get rid of hypothyroidism, let alone Hashimoto's." And I said, "Yeah, of course you can. You can get rid of both of them. You got to clean the body out. You got to get your nutrition balance back, and and it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot cheaper than $1,000 a pill. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And and the person is healed. They're not just masking the symptoms. They're not just suppressing some part of the body with a chemical. It's just there's so much money to be made in the medical world that there's no way in this country that we could have a universal healthcare system that works. Because as long as there's this much incentive for profit, it would be impossible. You would bankrupt the country.
Well, I'll tell you, I think, to take this a step farther, Joe Scarborough, who is the star of the Morning Joe, actually looked up the U.S. Capitol switchboard number and put it on the screen this morning, and is encouraging all of his listeners, which are millions, to call in and talk to their senator, talk to their congressman, talk to everybody and complain, because the reason that this is happening to us, the reason that all of our funds are being usurped, the reason that Medicare and Medi-Cal are on the brisk of bankruptcy is because these guys sold us out. And now, with this kind of notoriety, and it's an election year, maybe this is the time for somebody to make some changes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. People talk to me, about politics, and of course, anything with healthcare is a big driving force for me, and it's really two of the biggest factors on why I am willing to vote the way I am. One, Donald Trump has a sensible approach towards vaccinations. and I really like it. He's not against vaccinations, but he says, we can't give this many vaccines to the kids, in such high quantities and expect them to be healthy. You've got to pace yourself out. You can't give it to them when they're such babies. They're little babies. You can't give them the same shot you would a horse. That's pretty much what he said. And, and then on the flip side, you got Hillary Clinton, who wants to she's bought and sold by the pharmaceutical companies. They are her number one contributor.
Oh, yeah.
And she wants, she wants to keep pushing Obamacare through, mandatory vaccines on. I mean, she just wants the nation drugged on a constant basis, because people who are drugged up, they're easy to control. And I'm telling you, man, there's that book. I know I've talked about it before. It's been a while, but that book by Aldous Huxley called Brave New World.
Yeah.
And it's a fantastic book, and I read it years ago. And the people are genetically modified. Okay, they're genetically engineered, and they're conceived in a petri dish, and then their DNA is altered along the way to make them, fit within a certain role in society. Just a plain old, basic worker who follows directions, maybe mid-level management, and so on up. But what the thing is, at the end of the day, they're all rewarded with their soma. They get a pill. I don't know if soma was actually a drug back when he called it this. I think this was written in the 30s or something like that. But they get this drug called soma, and it's basically an anti-anxiety drug. And when the people don't get it, they lose their mind. And if they want to go on vacation, they just take extra soma. They go on a soma vacation, Well,
you know what? But,
and that's what we're doing, but we're doing it voluntarily. We're going, give us our drugs. I talked to a young gal who was on three different medications. Two of them were psychotropic drugs, for anxiety and ADD and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to her, beautiful young gal, like 19 or 20 years old, just absolutely gorgeous. And she's on these drugs. And I told her, we can do this and that. We can get you off the drugs. And this girl looked at me, she goes, but I like my drugs. I'm like, okay, we're going to have a hard time here with this one, because she wants them. She doesn't want to be off of them because it makes her happy. It makes her focused. And that's what we're doing. We are literally, our government is saying, here, just make more drugs. And sure enough, I can guarantee you, it's just a way to keep people complacent to where they don't stand up. People who are happy and complacent and pain free, they're not going to get up in arms and fight a country that's become so corrupt as ours has.
Oh yeah, I mean, what? Let me tell you just a couple other areas here. First of all, I just read in the news today, and this is appalling. There's this last Hurricane Matthew that just went through the Caribbean and devastated Haiti. I don't know if you've ever been to Haiti. I have. It's got to be the poorest country I've ever visited in my life.
I was going to say, there's not much to devastate. What does it do? Like $3,000 in damage? You destroy the whole country?
Well, but in this particular case, over 900 people have died. And, and right now, and they immediately put up websites trying to solicit money from Americans to give to the Red Cross and all these different charities. Truth is, none of this is getting to Haiti. There are 300 patients right now lying silently in hospital beds waiting for medicine that we're not delivering.
Yeah. I hate those kind of organizations. I love being charitable and on, but these huge organizations are so self-serving nowadays.
Well, I gotta tell you, in 9/11, I remember watching this fundraiser on television, and they were trying to solicit money for the survivors of the 9/11 families, and Marlene and I contributed what I considered to be a substantial amount of money, and they were telling us to just send it to the Red Cross, which is exactly what we did. And then subsequent to that, the Red Cross had gotten so much money that they just arbitrarily decided, well, they weren't going to use it for that. They were going to use it for other things. I want to tell you, I will never again in my life give a nickel to the Red Cross. If I'm saying I'm giving money for this purpose, that is the only thing they're supposed to give it to and nothing else. I want to tell you that just really upset me. And the Red Cross is one of those organizations that was being hyped to give money to get help over to Haiti. And now look at this. I'm incensed over this thing. Just absolutely drives me up the wall.
Yeah, it's terrible, and there's so many organizations like that. You know, the one that I just absolutely I abhor as much as you do with the Red Cross. And I don't like the Red Cross either, but it's the Susan G. Komen, the pink ribbons and all that. The amount of money that goes in that's actually spent towards cancer research is less than 20%.
Yeah.
And it all goes to, the CEO and probably throwing parties, and it's one of the most corrupt organizations out there, but people just go nuts over it. They love wearing their pink stuff and doing their little 5K runs, thinking they're making a difference. And it's like, you're not making any difference at all. Cancer is, we've made absolutely zero progress. Matter of fact, we're worse now than we were. Yeah. And it just amazes me that there's so much money being wasted by these corporate organizations, by our governments, on every level, that, people wonder why I love what I do so much, because I know it can change people's lives, because the medical system it'll change your life, but not necessarily for the better. That stuff like that, it boggles my mind. But I've never been to.
Let me hit you with one more. There's and I don't know the proposition number, but one of the propositions that's on the ballot here in California this year is the legalization of marijuana. Now, marijuana for medical use is already legalized, and I don't know what your stand is on that. And the reason I'm bringing it up, the legalization of marijuana, is I'd love to get your opinion on that. Should we legalize marijuana, or is it just going to be a moneymaker for somebody else? People may not know it. We are one of the largest marijuana growing states in the nation, up in Northern California. That's where most of this marijuana is actually being grown up there. But the truth is, it's a very profitable crop. Do they want to legalize it because big companies can make huge profits, or do they want to legalize it because it's tantamount to alcohol that during Prohibition, we took it out and we put it in, and somebody can make up their own mind whether to have it? Or is it really a drug that leads itself to more stronger drugs that get people in trouble? What is your position on this?
I don't really see it so much as a gateway drug, and I am for legalizing it for a lot of reasons.
Could you talk about it a little bit, because I'm kind of in a quandary about it. I don't have a position one way or another. I don't want to hurt anybody, but everybody I've ever talked to says that it's not even as dangerous as alcohol.
Oh, it's not even close. Yeah. People don't smoke pot and then go kill people in their car. They don't go smoke pot and then, go on a shooting spree, or they don't. All they want to do is, sit down and laugh and have sex and eat brownies. That's pretty much it, or just sit and do absolutely nothing. So people, from a social side of it, there's really not a lot of downside. Could it become abusive? Sure. Absolutely, like anything else. It can still be an escape, just like alcohol and other drugs can be an escape. But the damaging effects from marijuana are almost nil. I mean, there's really very little downside. Obviously, smoking, it's not good for your lungs. It's not as bad as cigarettes, but there are a ton of health benefits. It's good for people with glaucoma. We've known that for a long time. It's good for cancer. It's good for, just a whole Crohn's. It's good for all kinds of things. And so there's a lot of health conditions that can be treated with marijuana. And I personally don't think that smoking it is the best way to do it. They can actually take it and they kind of boil it in sort of an alcohol solution, and it pulls the oils out, which has all the properties that you're looking for when you smoke it. And you can actually take that oil out and put it in a tincture, in a little bottle, and you can actually mix the oil in with things like butter or coconut oil, or you can put it in food, or you can just mix it with like a little bit of,
Is that what they do with? Is that what they do with the? Is that what you made the comment about brownies? Is that what they do with the brownies? Just put the oil in the mixture of a brownie, or do they actually?
You can actually just add the oil straight in. But what they do, and there was I can't remember what her name was. There was a gal up in San Francisco back like in the hippie days she was just a rebel, and she didn't care if it was legal or not, and she was treating all these maybe it wasn't the hippie days, maybe it was during the AIDS movement. Anyway, she was making these brownies. Well, what she would do is you take butter because you use butter in baking all the time, and you actually boil the butter at a low temperature, not too hot, but you get it to where it's liquid and it's hot and it's kind of boiling, and you put all the marijuana in there, and what it does is it pulls out all of the THC and all the oils out of the marijuana, and then you strain it, like through like cheesecloth or whatever, and so then you let it set, and it hardens back up, and now your butter is green and it tastes like marijuana. But then when you go to bake your brownies or cookies or whatever, you use a cup of butter. Well, you just use the butter that's got all the good stuff in it. And,
gotcha.
And people are, their pains are going away, their inflammation is going away, cancer is going away, and so there are a ton of health benefits.
Well, I've heard that, they use the marijuana to diminish nausea from the chemo, stuff like that. I didn't realize that it actually removed pain.
Did it actually? Did what?
Did it blocked pain?
Oh yeah. Gosh, matter of fact, and I actually went through a period where I smoked pot for probably about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months or something like that. And I was, it's funny because I grew up in Southern California, like so many of my friends smoked weed, but I never did, I just wasn't, like, one, I was afraid of my dad, but two, it was just like, it didn't appeal to me that much. And, but I was at a party, a Christmas party with a guy that I worked with, and his brother was there, and his brother is an herbologist. And so I asked him, I said, because I was into, natural stuff. At the time, I had really bad pain in my upper back and neck, and I had a lot of muscle tension. I just woke up in pain, and I would take Flexeril, which helped, but it's a drug. I don't want to be on Flexeril all the time. And so I asked this guy, I said, hey, are there any good herbal muscle relaxers out there? And he said, oh yeah. He goes, there's a really good one. I said, well, what is it? He goes, pot. I'm like, okay, anything legal? He said, no. So there's ones, that promote themselves. He goes, and he's right. There isn't anything that really works. So it doesn't really remove
the pain. It relaxes the muscles, and by relaxing the muscles, the pain goes away. This is like you and I talk about all the time. They got rid of the cause, not the symptom.
Right, exactly. And so when I would smoke it, my muscle tension was gone, my pain was gone, and there, it works with other pains too. Like if you had like you twisted your ankle or something like that, and you had a sprained ankle, it would diminish the pain on that as well. It just and part of it could just be like how like Dilaudid, I think, is one of the drugs that really doesn't remove pain, but what it does is it makes you not care about the pain. And so, there's, it could be that maybe you're still in pain, but you just don't realize it because you're just so euphoric.
Well, I've had Dilaudid, and I don't remember. I remember getting it, and there was no pain, but I mean, it was like I was floating, above the bed.
It's the weirdest sensation. And it is.
By the way, I want to make this statement. I was in the hospital when I got it.
Yeah, so was I. Yeah. No, me too. I got it through IV. I was the only time I was an adult that I've been in the hospital, and it was because I had a virus. But yeah, the pain was so intense. My low back hurt. So it was the most intense pain I've ever dealt with. And they gave me that Dilaudid, and it was like someone took a bucket of happiness and just poured it. And you could feel it just wash over your body.
And Sean, instantly. I mean, you felt when you got this, you could feel the warmth taking over your body, and it was just instant. By the way, speaking of warmth, that's how I hope you're going to feel when you hear these next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to try and find out how this Dilaudid helped our good buddy Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:01 p.m. Pacific time. Currently, well, still, I should say, 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, it's 54 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 43 degrees and a little light rain. But I'll tell you, not raining anywhere here in Southern California. It is just drop dead gorgeous out there. And I'm assuming it's the same thing out in Irvine. What do you think, Sean?
It is drop dead gorgeous. Exactly.
Yeah.
Could not put it any better.
Yeah, it is just beautiful. It makes you wonder what we're doing inside.
Yeah. It's. I would say it's days like this that I wish I had an outside job, but we have days like this over 300 days a year.
You know what? There's a saying in Oregon, you guys can come visit, but don't move here. We don't want you to live here. Well, we ought to be feeling the same way in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true. Yeah. It's already expensive enough as it is.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, so listen, you were talking about the lot and the effect that it had on you in the hospital, but you were saying that it doesn't really remove the pain; it just makes you not care about it. And my experience is, I'm not. It's been so long ago, I don't really remember. But it seemed to me like once they gave me that, I could go back to sleep. I don't know if it put me to sleep or I could go back to sleep. I don't know if the pain was gone or, like you said, I just wasn't paying any attention to it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like you said, it's instantaneous and you can just feel this warmth. It's a crazy, you're just happy. I mean, like, you don't care. It doesn't matter. I mean, the hospital could be burning down and you'd be like, oh, wow, cool. At least you get some marshmallows, it's just like, you just feel fantastic. But yeah, from what I understand, that what it does is it doesn't actually kill the pain. It actually just makes your brain not worry about it. And obviously, since you're not worried about pain, you're not worried about any other type of pain, like emotional pain, like, the worries about your bills or, and, in fact, I had a friend of mine, his, last year, his dad died. His dad fought cancer for a while and eventually, it took him. And of course, during that time, he was on a lot of pain medications, and one of them was Dilaudid. And he went through his dad's stuff, and when he was telling me, he's like, man, he goes, I have all these bottles of prescription. He goes, I got like all this stuff, and I got this, and I got Dilaudid. And I was like, dude, I go, you could sell that on the street and make a fortune. Not that I condone that, but we're just bantering.
Yeah.
But I'm not running for president, so I can banter about stuff like that. And he goes, you want some? I'm like, no, I don't want some. I said, because I understand why people get addicted to this stuff. If you know you have a source for it, why would you not get it? Because I don't want it. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to see it. Because I know how good it makes you feel, and I understand why prescription painkillers are the number one biggest drug problem we have in our country right now.
Let me ask you this. I have heard that when you take these kinds of prescription drugs, that if you don't need them, they're very quickly become a habit-forming, addictive type thing. But if you're taking it because you need it, because you're in tremendous pain or whatever it is, that it doesn't addict you. On the other hand, I've been in the hospital where I've been in a great deal of pain, and they sort of change the medication to a lot of strong medications, but they change it so you don't get addicted to one or another.
Right. And I think
so what is the truth? What is the truth to the statement?
Well, I think you can get addicted. Because when you think about it, most of the people, I won't say most nowadays, but back in, the way it started out with all these pain addictions were people who were in pain. Look at Rush Limbaugh. Yeah. He had a legitimate need for a painkiller, and he got addicted to it. And then he had to go through rehab to get off the painkillers because he didn't really need them anymore. So you can get addicted to them whether you're in pain or not, but it's easier to get addicted to them if you don't need them, because it takes you from feeling the way you should feel, the way we're designed to feel, where we have those happy moments and maybe not perfectly happy, but the rest of the time is great, and we kind of bounce back and forth. But all of a sudden, you take this stuff and you're just happy. And there's no down. There's no not so happy moment. There's just happy, and there's really happy. And who doesn't want that? If I could live my life and just be happy all the time, why wouldn't I why wouldn't I want that? And, that's why I told my buddy, I was like, I don't want these drugs because I know that they make me feel that good. Yeah, I can imagine how they would make me feel if I didn't have that back pain. I just want to be on them all the time.
Yeah, you know what? But I've also heard that, whether it be heroin or morphine or whatever you're taking, that eventually what happens is you have to continue to take it and take more and more of it so you can feel the way you felt before you started to take it to start with.
Right, exactly, yeah. And that's a lot of drugs are like that. Blood pressure medication, they tell that, that's the one that you hear about all the time. Don't stop taking your blood pressure medication because your blood pressure will drop so fast that it could kill you. You become addicted, physically addicted to these drugs because they're doing for your body what your body should be doing for itself. But since the body doesn't have to anymore, it shuts down production. So the body doesn't produce, dopamine and all these things that it would need because it's got this drug. I mean, I used to be I did bodybuilding and powerlifting. Mm-hmm. And I was always drug-free. I never did steroids. I even competed in the Drug-Free Powerlifting Association and on. But I had a lot of friends who did steroids. And I had one guy tell me, he goes, your testicles, he goes, they shrink up to the size of a razor, and you can actually sit there and squeeze them flat, and it doesn't hurt. He goes, there's no pain sensation in them even. Because they shut down.
I'm just going to take your word for it.
Yeah, that's not something I want to find out for myself. But the problem is, the body, you're flooding the body with testosterone, so the body says, well, I don't need to make it. I got plenty. The body is all about staying in balance and in regulation. And so if it says I need this much testosterone and your testosterone drops low, well, the body's going to want to keep producing more. But if you're testosterone elevates, the body naturally, if it's working the way it's supposed to, is going to want to slow down or stop production. And so when men take steroids, their testicles shrink up because they don't need them for making steroids anymore. And so that same principle applies to painkillers, to blood sugar medication, you name it. You stay on something long enough, it eventually shuts down that part of the body that's supposed to be doing what the drug is doing. So now you've either got to go through the consequence of withdrawals and let your body come back into where it needs to be, or you need to stay on the drug.
So the gist of this story is that you need to eat a balanced diet, you need to exercise, you need to get fresh air, and you need to keep your body in sync so that you don't have to take artificial things to create that sync.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. Yep, 100%.
Wow. So what are we going to talk about for the next half hour?
I don't know. Did you watch I'm just really curious why, because I was actually at a Sunday night. I went to a play in Laguna Beach, and so it was during the debate. Did you? I've heard what I've heard, but from random sources. I haven't really talked to anybody specifically, but did you watch it?
Yes.
And how do you think? Who do you think won? I guess I didn't even speak I don't think anybody wins in these debates.
Yeah.
They're not even talking about the real issues anymore. But
and that was the issue here. They weren't talking about issues. There really were no winners. Certainly, the American people didn't win. But I'll tell you what, Donald Trump fought he lives to fight another battle. I have some mixed emotions. I mean, he really went on the attack, but he had to. He didn't have many choices there. Oh, no. And it was all about this locker room banter thing going on. And the truth is that you know what? I mean, there's a certain amount of that's true. There's a certain amount of things I can guarantee you that when you're 58 or 60 years old, you might say and do some things that you're never going to do when you're past 70, which is the case that's going on here with Trump.
Well, he was 59 when he made those comments. 11 years ago.
And so he made comments like that. And while I think it's distasteful, and while I think it's certainly, it's questionable judgment when you're talking about a guy that wants to be the leader of the free world, I was watching today in the news, and Nancy O'Dell was saying that the locker room is no excuse for Trump. Well, the truth is that I was talking to my wife about this, and I said, as a young man, my big dream was to be a fly on the wall in the women's locker room. And she says, "Are you kidding? Women's locker room? There are things that are said in a woman's locker room that would make Howard Kern Howard Kern blush. Yeah, and it would make him blush." She says,
women are no better. And I was having this conversation with Sally, and we don't quite agree on which is you and I had this discussion, but we don't quite agree on the takeaway from Trump's thing. I think it's his locker room banter. Was it obsessed? Was it excessive? Yeah. Was it obnoxious? Yeah. Was it inappropriate? Of course it was. But does it happen a lot by both men and women? Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
I was telling myself, I go, two examples I could think of right off the cuff. I was at a bar, and this woman who I don't even know, I've never met her before. She's standing next to me. She looks at me and she goes, "I like your underwear." Now, I've never tried that pickup line with a woman before, but I'm pretty sure it would not be successful.
Well, what I remember as a young teenager, in my junior and senior years, even before that in high school, you're in the locker room and I went to an all boys school, and these guys are all macho and they're all saying this and saying that and what they've done here, what they've done there, and what they're gonna do, and all these things. The truth is, every one of them was full of BS. These guys were just talking a big story that didn't exist, and they would try to make it as raunchy as they could make it to impress you. The truth is, they didn't have any experiences that you didn't have.
No, exactly. Yeah. Everybody talks a big talk. It's just a normal thing, And when you're Trump, everything's bigger than everything else. That's just how he lives life.
Yeah.
The flip side of this is, taking the focus off Trump. It's ridiculous that we even have to have this conversation because it's really a moot issue. But we live in a society where pornography is rampant.
Yeah.
You know, they say that without pornography, the internet probably would never have taken off the way it did. You know, and so, you know, we have pornography, and it's just a normal part of life nowadays. I say normal, but, you know, maybe not for some people, not everybody. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we have a society where we want to take God out of every aspect of society except home and church, maybe, but certainly don't put it on the walls in the schools or the, you know, the courthouse, and we don't want to see a cross, you know, and on public land. And, you know, we want to say there's so many people in society that want to take God out of our lives, but they still want people to behave godly. You know, without some sort of standard, of moral standard, what's to say that his comment was even morally wrong? You've got to have a standard. And where does that standard come from? You know, I'm not saying that it always comes from the Bible, but usually people attach their sense of moral to some sort of spiritual, you know.
Well, you know what? I've got to tell you something. You know, you and I are friends, and I can speak for myself. You know what? I don't have $10 billion. I don't think it would make any difference if I did. That is just not who I am. Forgetting about religion or anything else, maybe I shouldn't say it that way, because my parents raised the way they raised me, and I was raised in a Catholic household. The truth is that that's just not the way I was. It's not the way I talked. I don't talk that way now. Do I swear once in a while? Yeah, sure I do. Every once in a while, do I really put out one of those really juicy words? Yeah, I do. If I'm, you know, sometimes you get mad and it just slips out, but that is not the way that I communicate with anyone. And so you got to say that's not everybody. But you know what? You tell me if you've experienced this. When you go to the East Coast, and especially New York, these guys have a language that comes out of the gutter. Men, women, everybody. You can be in a restaurant and you hear some of the most foul language that they think nothing of it. And that's just the way they talk on the East Coast. On the West Coast, you get castigated for doing something like that. And I can tell you I can't even begin to tell you how many times I'd be with my wife at a restaurant and I'd get up from the table and go to another table and say, hey, look, I've got my wife with me. Out of respect for me and my wife, would you please stop using that kind of language? You know.
Yeah, I've actually done that in restaurants. That I turn around the table and go, guys, either leave or tone it down. But it's not appropriate in the restaurant, especially, we got our wives, and some women are even worse than the guys.
Yeah,
so that still doesn't matter. But there's definitely, in a restaurant, you're gonna, there may be children. And so there are areas in life where you do need to tone it down. And I'm one of these people that I'm guilty of.
Yeah, but the point that I was making is there are parts of this country where it's an accepted speech. It's the way they talk. They use the F-bomb. They use the F-bomb just like it was a regular adjective.
Right, exactly. That's kind of the point I was making with the whole, we want to take God, and I use God in a general sense in this, we want to take God out of the picture. It's okay to be spiritual, but don't have any sort of defined morals. And that has led to that exact thing, where you have parts of the country where, it's okay to, you can go right just north of San Diego. In fact, we talked about it on the radio show because there's one, I didn't even know they had the same name. There's one up near San Francisco. There's Black's Beach.
Yeah.
Right in just north of San Diego. And you have to hike down a cliff to get to it. But it is clothing optional. Yeah. And I think it was back in the 80s that the cops really tried to crack down on it. And the people were going, we don't care. You can give us all the tickets you want. We're not putting our clothes on. And I'm not talking topless. I'm talking men and women walking around wearing nothing, dudes out surfing nude in the nude surfing, and that will reach, and that culture is accepted. The cops finally said, "Okay, fine, you don't have your clothes on, but because we can't stop you."
Yeah.
And when the people stand up for their quote unquote rights to do something, according to their standard, eventually they're going to get it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with nudity. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw a naked woman, fully naked, in a public place. I was 19 years old, and I was in Germany, and I was in a hotel, and they had an indoor swimming pool. And I'm sitting in the swimming pool wearing my swim trunks, and here comes this woman. She's going to go to the sauna, or the steam room, and she literally came out of the locker room, walked the full length of the swimming pool in a hotel, totally naked. And I was just like, I'm 19 years old, so this was the late 80s, and then I'm an American, and I'm going, oh my gosh, they do this in this country. This is so weird.
Well, you've been to France, right?
Oh yeah. France is France is worse than Germany.
And Sweden. You've been to Sweden, right?
I've been to Denmark. I've not been to Sweden.
Oh, okay. Well, you know where I'm headed with this. You know what?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In every country, in every part of our country, there are places that have been isolated. There are nudists that enjoy being nude for whatever reason that is. And you know what? As long as they are isolating it, they're trying to do it in their own private compounds and things like that, I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, the first time I ever saw it on a beach, my wife and I were in Jamaica. She and I were walking hand in hand on the beach in Jamaica, and a beautiful girl went running from the top of where the sand was, where there were some trees, down into the water, and she was totally naked. And I went, oh my God. And she came back the other way, and my wife gave me an elbow in the ribs and turned me around and said, we're going back so fast. But I want to tell you, what a sight. Just made my day.
Oh yeah. There'd be something wrong there. You can't not look at that. I mean,
I told her, hey, look, honey,
if you don't look at it.
Hey, sweetheart, I'm not old and I'm not blind. I mean, come on, give me a break. Anyway, listen,
I was chasing her, that's one thing, but
yeah, we've got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk some more to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner and his nude experiences. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. Oh, it's still 75 degrees. I'm going to stop doing that. You know what? If you happen to be listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Sydney, Australia, you know what? It's 83 degrees and it's partly cloudy. And if you happen to be in Lisbon, Portugal, it is 63 degrees and mostly cloudy. But I'll tell you, there's no clouds over the heads of either myself or our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're here in sunny Southern California. Hey, Sean, you got the microphone, my buddy. Oh, are you still naked?
I don't know.
Are you still naked? Are you outside? Are you outside?
Yeah, I'm outside on the beach.
Oh, okay.
Naked.
You're getting some sun on the. You're getting some naked sun on the beach.
Right, exactly. I wish. No, that's not the case. Yeah. Definitely not the case.
No, that would be one. That would be one hellacious sunburn, buddy.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very. I can't even imagine. No, no thanks. Yeah, sunburns are bad enough. That hasn't seen sun in a very long time.
So
anyway, yeah, I don't know. Hey, what were we talking about?
We were talking about nude beaches, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about nude beaches and moralities, but
yeah,
but, no, I'm with you. That was the thing you said is, that's just not who you are as a person, and that's actually, that's a great thing. That's good. Realistically, someone said to me one time, I can't remember the exact, quote that I heard, but it was basically that pretty much all humor is based in someone else's misery. It's when you think about it, when we are laughing at something, usually somebody is, being made fun of. Somebody got even slapstick comedy. Remember slapstick comedy? I don't even know if they still call it that or even utilize it anymore. But slapstick comedy was great. And of course, there was a bunch of guys, smacking each other with hammers and shovels and whatever, and we would laugh at it. And most jokes that you tell, usually putting someone down in a way, but we try to make it funny. And it's along that same line. You're going, look, it would be better if we never made comments like what Trump made.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we live in a society where, what's that country that's got the huge red light district where you can actually go?
Belgium has a big red light district. So does Amsterdam. Amsterdam has a huge red. I've been to both of them.
I've not been to either one of them. I had an opportunity.
No. I didn't. No. I just kind of drove by. Actually, I was in a boat in Amsterdam, and the other one I drove by. I didn't stop to make a purchase.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. But yeah, you can literally go window shopping, and there's naked women in the windows. I've seen porn on a display in an open newsstand in I think it was Denmark. And in fact, I can remember seeing, like postcards and magazines. I saw, I think it was a magazine with a naked girl, a young girl, on the cover of the magazine. I don't know. It was in French. So I don't know what the hell they were talking about. But there was a naked. Actually, I think it was a naked boy and girl. I remember it was a boy and a girl, and they were naked on the cover of this magazine right there in the newsstand in Paris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
And people would lose their minds in the United States. And so, it's what some people consider acceptable and others don't. Is that's why we have a left and a right and everything in between here in this country.
Well, you know what? You watch commercials in France. If you ever visit France or you're in Paris and you watch the commercials on television, man, they got some hot commercials.
Every now and then I'll see them on like people will post like this commercial will never fly in the United States, which they're right, it never would. And they become we think that we use sex to sell here in the United States. It's way beyond that in Europe.
That's why the people in France can't understand the big issues that are going on between Trump or Clinton or Kennedy. I mean, gosh, what if Kennedy had been alive in an era where the press had all of this technology? He'd have been thrown out of office in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
for his indiscretions. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
He was running a brothel for one, and he had the Secret Service protecting him.
Right, exactly. And I think that the difference nowadays is that the information is so immediately available that you can't hide anything anymore. Yeah. I don't think that the morality or the character of the running mates or the candidates is any better or worse now than it was 100 years ago or 50 years ago or whatever. I think it's just that everything is so out in the open now, and you literally something happens and boom, you got
when they talk about when they talk about transparent now, they mean it.
And the media, of course, the media is going to perpetuate it and make it something that it's not even. You can see that they will take something and make it what it's not. And in fact, Jimmy Carter, when he was running for president, he did an interview with a newspaper reporter, and Jimmy Carter's about as squeaky clean as they get, right?
Oh yeah. I know you're going to talk about Playboy, right?
No. This was so this guy. He does the interview, and towards the end of the interview, they got on the topic of infidelity, extramarital affairs, and he says right at the end of the conversation, the guy was getting ready to leave, and he turns, he goes, "What about you, Mr. Carter? Have you ever been unfaithful to your wife?" And he said, the Bible, and of course, he's very Christian. He's always espoused his Christianity. He's been very faithful to it. And he said, the Bible says that if a man looks sinfully at another woman, then he's guilty of adultery in his heart. And he said, so according to that definition, yeah, I have, And his point wasn't that, he was an unfaithful person, but he was trying to say, look, we're all guilty at some level, whether it's in our hearts or we actually commit the acts. He's saying you're just as guilty, right? Not that he had actually done it. I'm sure the guy probably, I can't imagine Jimmy Carter cheating on his wife, it's just the kind of guy he was. But of course, the news article came out the next day, huge headlines. Jimmy Carter admits to infidelity in his marriage, and it was a huge, blown up, sensational message spread across the country, and it was this huge deal, and it literally could have cost him the presidency, and he had to go into massive damage control. Yeah. And so I think, the characters are flawed in everybody, and we don't really, I think this is what I said. I think that the reason why everybody's so mad at Trump is because he reminded us of how we really are as a society. He reminds us that this happens. It's not that Trump's a bad person, and most guys are going to say stupid stuff like that. Like you said, they're going to say far more things than they'll ever act out.
I think the part that bothers me most is not so much what he said, what bothers me is it was 11 years ago. You know what? Yeah. If you are going to crucify me, do it because of something I did recently, not something I did 11 years ago. I'm a different person today. I'm talking about me now. I'm a different person today than the person I was 11 years ago.
I'm a different person today than I was a person 2 years ago.
Yeah. People are holding this man to a different standard, and mostly women, and women are insulted and they're feeling abused. And you know what? And very honestly, women do get attacked. I mean, the difference between men and women is the women do get groped, and guys do assault them, and that does happen, and it's for real. There's a difference between talk and action. You know what? Yeah. If there was action, then there's no time limit for me. Just take the guy out behind the barn and beat the living daylights out of him. And not exactly the way I'm thinking about it, but as far as talk, and as far as something 11 years ago, God, give me a break, please.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's funny you talk about what you said about taking out behind the barn.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these things I always look at, and that's kind of what we've been talking a lot about is, culturally what's going on, and we really lost this sense of culture in our society of, people used to say things like it takes a village to raise a child. Well, now the message is, you village, stay the hell away from my child. I can do this by myself. Thank you very much. And so we really created this isolation of ourselves in our society where we go to stores where nobody knows us. We go to churches where nobody knows. I could literally go to church right across the street from me and there's, I don't know, 2,000 people in attendance, maybe more. I don't know how big this church is. It's huge. Yeah. And I could go there and I could sit through both services in the morning and not see a single person I know and not have anybody approach me. And so we've created this issue of this lost sense of who we are as a culture. And I think that's the bigger problem is where we're at, systemically what's going on with us. The Amish, that's where I was going with too. Mm-hmm. The Amish, they self-regulate very well. They've got a really great sense of culture of who they are. And the men in their culture, if you are a man who is abusive to your wife, the men will come talk to you and they'll say, what's the issue? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And they'll say, fix it. Don't do it anymore. Whatever the problem is, this needs to stop. Yeah. If it continues, they do exactly what you said. They drag him out behind the barn and they beat the living daylights out of him. Yeah. And they say, this is going to happen again the next time you're abusive to her. Yeah. We aren't going to tolerate it. And in our society, it's I think that it's probably gone through periods, everyone talks about, Donald Trump and all these Republicans, these men that want to take us back to the 50s, as if that was the most horrible time in history. But, there was a time when it was certainly very much repressed where you didn't talk about it. And when you talk to women and feminism movement and stuff, that's their thing is women are afraid to talk about whenever they're abused or attacked or groped or whatever, because Hillary Clinton is the worst example of all of them at how you treat a woman. When anyone who came out against Bill Clinton said he attacked me, he did this, she viciously attacked every single one of the women that he had an affair with or that he actually attacked.
Well, yeah, but but you have to understand it's okay because the Clintons are above the law. They have their own. They have their own rules that they make up, that they live by, and you and I aren't included in that group.
Right. Oh gosh, no, not even close. Far from being included in that group. Yeah. Yeah. And but it's just there's this example that's set, and that women are finally getting to the point where they're feeling like they can speak out. Yeah. Where they didn't have that before. And I get that. Matter of fact, I was reading an article. It was really interesting.
You got 1 minute.
Oh man, I don't know if I can do this. And I'll do it quick.
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Okay, cool. It was an article about these women, and I believe they actually worked in the White House, I believe. And what they did was they banded together, and what they would do is if a woman would come up with an idea, all of the other women would repeat it so that the men in the room understood this is not your idea. You can't steal it from us. Don't interrupt, right? And when you read it on the surface, you go, hey, that's kind of cool. They're this way the men can't interrupt the women. They can't steal the ideas from the women. They can't do this to the women. And as I'm reading this article, all of a sudden I realized they're not doing it because they're women. Men have done this kind of thing to each other forever. Yep. Men interrupt each other. Men take credit for stuff that other men did. The difference is men have grown up, I say grown up, I mean like as a culturally in that environment where we've learned how to deal with it. We've learned to attack and counterattack and defend ourselves. And now women get in the workplace and they don't have that vicious side to them of attack and counterattack. And so all of a sudden they feel like they're getting beat up on. And I don't think it was necessary. Yeah, I'm sure there are guys out there who are going to be, because you're a woman, I want you gone. But I think that they walked into a different culture, and so now our culture is changing. All this happened because of a rude comment from Trump. But anyway, I think it always boils down to culturally we're messed up, and getting mad at one person is never going to fix the problem.
Nope, that's for sure. Hey, so listen, what are we going to talk about on Thursday?
Gosh, we can go back to talking. I know you like talking about the systemic parts of the body, how the body functions.
The human machine.
Yeah. We had a really good talk last week. So why don't we do? Let's talk about the gut microbiome. I was going to get on that, but never did. So we'll talk about the gut.
Okay.
Our gut.
Sounds good. Hey, Sean, go out and have a great. I hope you're having a good time now that you're back in California temporarily.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Oh, yeah.
All right. So stay safe and stay happy. Make everybody around you glad that they are.
Same to you, Robert. Thanks. I'll see you on Thursday.
All right. Great show. Thanks, buddy. The rest of you folks, stick around because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. And we'll follow that up with our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 75 degrees and sunny here in sunny Southern California, on the way down to 56 degrees. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Auckland, New Zealand, well, it's 66 degrees and partly cloudy. If you're in Tokyo, Japan, 68 degrees and it is sunny. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard Business Tip of the Day. And the management tip today is assess new hires for creativity. You know, to build a team of creative thinkers, you need to hire people who are open to new experiences and have resilience, emotional stability, flexibility, and empathy. During interviews with potential hires, ask questions that test for these traits. For example, you might ask the candidate to come up with multiple solutions to a problem, and then see if they are able to draw connections between those solutions to find a novel approach. If you want to test a candidate's ability for empathy, ask them to create a persona for a new product, or have them tell a story about a day in the life of a potential customer to see whether they can take on someone else's perspective. Now, these exercises give you valuable clues as to how well the applicant can connect with others, both emotionally and intellectually. Think about it. That really works. It'll help you. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. We talk about this all the time. You know what? You decide if you're going to be happy or sad or rich or poor, if you're going to be a success or a failure. You decide that every morning when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you shake your face and you say, wow, I'm going to have a great, productive, profitable day today. And you know what? You decide how the people around you are going to respond to. Nobody controls you. You do it. You have total control over what happens in your life. Well, the teaching for today is, so how can there be any lack? It's impossible. Your ability to think is unlimited, and so the things you can think into existence are also unlimited. And so it is with everyone. When you truly know this, you are thinking from a mind that is aware of its own infinite nature. There are no limitations. Keep that in mind. Well, you know what today is, Shudja? Sure you do. You know, I know, we both know. It's Tuesday. It's October the 11th, and it is somebody's birthday. Okay, and we've got some terrific birthdays for you today, so you know what? We might just as well get to them. Here's a guy born in 1961, a former quarterback, and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2000 for the highest career passer rating and won 6 NFL passing titles. In 2005, the first left-handed quarterback to be so honored. Happy birthday, Steve Young. Yeah. And here's a guy born 1962, an actress, I'm sorry, not a guy, a girl, she was an actress and a comedian, sister of John, and twice been nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Happy birthday, Joan Cusack. Yeah. Well, what do you think happened today in history? Well, you don't have to think about it. I'm about to tell you what happened today in history. So let's get right to it. You know what? On October the 11th, 1899, the Western League was renamed the American League. Yep. And in 1975, the NBC sketch comedy variety show Saturday Night Live debuts with George Carlin as the host and Andy Kaufman, Janice Ian, and Billy Preston as guests. Wow. Can you imagine? And then finally, in 1984, aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger, astronaut Catherine D. Sullivan becomes the very first American woman to perform a spacewalk. Yeah. Well, our quote for today comes from Benjamin Disraeli, and Ben says, "My idea of an agreeable person is a person who agrees with me." Yeah, that's my idea of an agreeable person too. Well, you know what? It's time for us to give you some interesting but useless facts. And you know what? Let's just do this as well as we can. Did you know that a kangaroo can jump up to 3 meters high and leap up to 8 meters? That's amazing. 3 meters, like 3 yards, guys. That's pretty big. How about this? Did you know that each human generates about 3.5 pounds of rubbish a day? And that's mostly paper, by the way. 3.5 pounds. How about this one? The most powerful laser in the world, the Nova laser at Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory, California, USA, generates a pulse of energy equal to, let's see if I can get this thing, 100 trillion watts of power for, I'll tell you, this is, it's like 1/millionth of a second to a target the size of a grain of sand. Now that is pretty amazing. Well, let me leave you with this one. Under the law of Mississippi, there's no such thing as a female peeping Tom. I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Anyway, don't go away. We're going to be right back with our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story right after these messages. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what time it is? It is time for our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know what? And we've got a great story for you today. You know, Paul Harvey is the biggest and best voice in America, or at least he was. He revealed the starting heartbeats behind all the headlines. Now, today's story from Paul is entitled James. Now, listen to this. This is the ultimate success story. It's about a boy named James, who entered the Army as a hospital assistant and wound up as Inspector General of the Army Medical Department. This feat, remarkable in itself, is exaggerated by the outstanding surgical skill Dr. James Berry developed during his more than 50 years of service. I'm sorry if you think the ending's been given away, but what made Dr. Berry ultimately successful is the rest of the story. On July the 5th, 1813, a scrawny 18-year-old lad banged on a United States Army registrar's door. His name was James Berry, he said, and he wanted to do hospital work. Hospital, eh? Said the Army official, smiling a bit. And why do you wish specifically to do hospital work? The boy thought for a moment. Because I love it, he answered at last. And what is your experience in this field? The Army official wanted to know. The boy stood in tense silence. It was then that the registrar really looked at him, observed the freckled face and the reddish hair. You're Scottish, aren't you? Asked the Army official. The boy's expression brightened. Yes, sir, he said enthusiastically. In fact, my grandfather was a Scottish earl. True or not, the answer delighted the registrar, who was already impressed with the lad's eagerness to serve. He signed up young James, and so began one of the most incredible careers in the history of medicine. Within a year and a half, James Berry, not yet 20, rose to the title of assistant surgeon. You can imagine what he must have had to learn in those few months. In another 12 years, Dr. Berry became surgeon major and then deputy inspector general. And finally, after nearly a lifetime of devotion, James, the man who once stood as an inexperienced boy before an Army registrar, became the inspector general himself, the highest-ranking medical officer in the United States Army. Notwithstanding his accumulation of stars and bars, there was another side to Dr. James Berry. A contradiction, you might say. Once described as the most skillful of physicians and the most wayward of men, this learned and fully competent doctor was also credited with an unusually quarrelsome temper. At least once that we know of, Dr. Berry, while stationed at the Cape Cod Good Hope, fought a duel. Throughout his Army career, James was often guilty of breaches of discipline, often sent home under arrest. Now, you could write this off as the eccentricity of a medical genius. That's what headquarters did when confronted with Dr. Berry's offenses. May we suggest here that these somewhat regular outbursts of macho had another basis in an otherwise distinguished man. You see, James Berry was not a rowdy, quite the opposite. It was noted that the style of his conversation was greatly superior to that usually heard at the mess table in those days. As a matter of fact, there was a certain effeminacy in his manner which he was always striving to overcome. Now, please don't get ahead of me, at least before you judge Dr. James Berry too harshly. You'd better learn about the day that he passed away, for this has been the ultimate success story. Yet Dr. Berry was not so much a success for what he did as for what he hid. James died in London on July the 25th, 1865. That's when everyone discovered the secret that he'd kept for over half a century. A secret not even barely suspected by his servant for many years. When word got out, an official report was immediately sent to the Horse Guards that Dr. James Berry, the late Senior Inspector General of the Army Medical Department, the highest-ranking medical officer in the United States Army, was a woman. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, on my next show, we're going to be talking about pros and cons of joint accounts, and I'll give you all of that, and I'll also answer your emails. That'll be tomorrow. And then Joel Saltzman, our own Dr. Wireless, will be here. He'll be talking about wireless technology and news, and I'm sure Samsung will get in there somewhere. And then I'm going to contribute our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And our story tomorrow is going to be called The Cause, and you're not going to want to miss this thing. So please tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. You know what? That'll make them happy. That'll make you happy, and I guarantee you that'll make me happy too. Won't you do that? Sure you will.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.